Well, darn it. I was hoping for so much more from this book. I mentioned previously that the other Nick Cutter book that I read, The Troop, I've got sitting back there, was fantastic. Amazing. It's a book that still sits with me, how awesome it was, and I recommend it to people every chance I get. So I thought, hey, let's go to another one from Mr. Nick Cutter. And I'm trying to think of how to talk about this because I'm so disappointed. You know, if you've also read The Troop, or I know he's got The Deep out there, and if those were awesome, I'll try to explain why this one was so disappointing. But let me first, we'll start with no spoilers and kind of talk about what this book is about. The simple way to put it is we've got three mercenaries who are hired by this lady to go find her nephew. Well, she knows where the nephew is. He's up in this camp, this commune that is run by this religious cult. And she's worried what's going to happen to this boy because this boy's mom, she's in prison. The dad just kind of up and left and took them out to the woods in this commune, and she's a little worried about what's going on up there. So she's got these three mercenaries. They agree to go up there and check it out. She says, let's just go check it out and just see what it's all about. Maybe we can just take him and leave, or, just scope it out and see what we need to do. So they get up there, and of course, things are a little strange. It's a religious cult. Everybody's all about following this preacher, this greasy slime ball of a guy who, he's got that, oh yeah, welcome everybody, but there's this undertone of, yeah, you're not really allowed to leave, and you're really not allowed to disagree with me. And he's got a couple of guys, kind of henchmen, or not really bodyguards, but there are a couple of guys who kind of run security, or I'd say it's henchmen. They're not part of the cult. They're just there to bully people who don't want to stay in line. And of course, these newcomers who come in, they pretend like they're lost hikers. It's like, oh, we're lost. We're just hiking around here, and da 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 da. One of the guys twists his ankles, so the commune and the preacher, they're like, all right, you just stay here till you rest up and you get better, and then you can leave. Of course, they use this time to scope things out, check up on the kid, see how he's doing. Then the strange things start happening. There were already strange things going on as they were hiking through the woods, spotting shadows or weird light in the woods on their way there. And of course, the people are scared of going out in the woods. One day, a boy disappears. No idea what happened to him. They go out searching for him, can't find him, till one night, in the middle of the night, one of these mercenaries are up and they hear something and they spot him. The boy runs around the chapel. Two of the mercenaries, they go out, try to look for this boy. They see him sitting by the side of the chapel, and he's not exactly himself. You expect a boy who goes out in the woods for a few days, he looks a little gaunt or, depleted, but no, this boy looks worse. And not to mention that when he's sitting there with his hands held together, from the waist down, he is just covered in bugs. Now, he's not screaming, he's not scared, but he's just sitting there looking all freaky, covered in bugs. What in the world has happened to him? So that's kind of what we got going on. There's just freaky things out in the woods. A little later, more kids go missing. And so if it's kind of this mystery of what is going on with this commune and the things out in the woods. Now, this all happens back in 1965. The book actually starts in 1980, where we are with one of those mercenaries who was there in Little Heaven. That's the name of the commune, Little Heaven. And now he's married, he has a daughter. One night, his daughter hears a voice in her head calling to her. So she gets up out of bed. She eventually goes out of the house. She starts hearing this flute playing. The voice, the flute, luring her farther away from her house. Her dad wakes up, runs out of the house, and this is kind of where the book got off on the wrong start with me. The girl goes out, the dad goes chasing after her, and like page 4, 5, we immediately see what's up. We get whatever's going on out there, it's described to us, we see it, and for the rest of the book, when we jump back to 1965 where nobody knows anything about it, We know what it looks like. We know what's going on. And so it kind of it ruins the surprise, the suspense, the horror. And he kind of did that in The Troop too, where he was given those like news flashes or depositions. And so as a reader, you found out what was going on before the characters knew what was going on. And that just kind of ruined everything. It's like I wanted to go along with the characters. I wanted to not know what was going on and discover things as they discovered things. And of course, there are some big things at the end that you don't know about until you get there. But as far as the horror in the woods, you find out very early, and it's no longer a horror to us reading it. So that was one thing I didn't like, and I guess I just didn't connect with any of the characters. The book, at times it felt slow to read, but other times I flew right through it. I just had a hard time getting too interested in it. It kind of felt almost like a cheesy horror movie you might flip through on TV and let's watch this silly thing. Yeah, I didn't get as into it or didn't take it as seriously as I took The Troop. I don't know why. If you have read some of his other stuff, it is very gory. This one has a lot more, um, I don't know, disturbing things and sexual things about, especially with the priest. Yeah, just with himself. Nothing with kids or anything nasty like that. But some of that I felt was just a little over the top. The gore is fine, but yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it just wasn't the right time for me to read this book. Sometimes you're just not in a mood to read a book. You got to set it down and pick it up again later. I pushed through it, and I just it never clicked with me, and I kind of begrudgingly finished it. So I think I need to go back and read The Troop, make sure that still holds true to what I have in my mind, what I think about it. This one is right now, it's like I couldn't recommend it to anybody. Even if you just wanted like a quick, gory horror book. This book is like 500, almost 500 pages long. So it's not a small investment. Had I been interested in it, I probably could have finished it in a week, but it took like 11, 12 days because I was just like, oh, I just finished. All right, I got to finish this. So I hate speaking down on books, but this one, it just did nothing for me. I do want to hear what you think. If you've read other Nick Cutter books, I know there's still The Deep out there. After reading this, I don't know if I'll ever read The Deep. Maybe just let The Troop stand on its own as an awesome book. But let me know down below what you think about this one, his other works. We're going to go into spoilers. We won't talk too much about on that. But yeah, so if you haven't read it and you want to read it, stop here, come back later. Thank you so much for watching. Let's talk about spoilers. Like I said from the very beginning, he shows us the monster. It talks about it all congealed and the wolf head and whatnot. And having just read Mistborn just reminded me of a Mistwraith. If you've read Mistborn and the Mistwraiths and how they kind of put their bodies together in weird shapes. And so it didn't really feel scary to me. I guess maybe that had something to do with it, that I had just read a book that had some of these things. I'm like, oh, it's just a Mistwraith. What to say about this book? Like I said, I had a hard time caring about anything. I was a bit surprised at the end where he poisons everybody. He kept saying, "Oh, pour more sugar in it, more sugar in the wine." And I was like, "Why does he want so much sugar?" And they're like, "Oh, that's why. That's why." Okay. And then, so I guess the big question is that baby thing. These they don't even give names to these black things, right? They just call the one the flute player. They had a couple other nicknames for it, but the flute player, he kept calling it my father or our father. Is it supposed to be the devil? You assume, your mind kind of goes there because it's a religious cult, that this thing is actually like the devil or something like that. But I guess, does it ever really say? Maybe not. Maybe it's just some kind of weird monster, huh? Some weird monster that takes baby form and crawls into people's backsides and stomachs and kind of leeches life off of them. Yeah. I don't know why he had that TNT. He chucked it down in the cavern because he wanted it to collapse. Why didn't he just run towards the baby and like hug the baby and let it explode, or grab the baby and run towards the flute player and let it explode? That bothered me. I'm like, oh, come on, you're right. That's what I thought he was gonna do. I thought he's like, point blank range, just. But no, none of that. Um, yeah, not sure what else to say. We got the end where it was kind of freaky. It would be freaky for Ellen to wake up and feel like, oh, I just went to bed last night. I feel so rested and refreshed. And you wake up and you look at yourself and you're like, what in the world is going? What's that smell? That smell is me. Why is everybody freaking out that I'm just waking up? Of course, Micah doesn't make it. The girl comes back and tries to give a chilling line at the end, right? He's saying that line in his head about the rain and something else, and it's just like, and the rain and rain and rain, and he drifts off to be no more. So yeah, I'm not gonna drag on about this. So disappointed. I think after this, I need something to recharge myself, my interest in reading, because books like this, when you're not interested in it, it can really make you want to, you know what, I don't want to read for a bit. Need a break. Which I might take a few days off, but then I definitely will jump into uh, Dungeon Crawler Carl number 3. Where I am, I could not find book number 4. But my awesome girlfriend, she found book number 4 and she got it for me. And so I was waiting to read 3 because didn't have 4. But now that I have 4 on the way, I'm going to read 3. Something fun, jump back into that world. Again, please let me know what you think down below about this book, other Nick Cutter books. Tell me what you're reading. Maybe you have a better horror book for me. I am going to do, like I said, Dungeon Crawler, and then I have Last Days. Who is that? Adam Neville. Heard a bit about Adam Neville. Haven't read any of his books, but Last Days is another scary book that I'll be reading. So, Carl, Last Days, and then we'll see where we go from there. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.